Hello and welcome back to the Golf Ireland pod. I'm your host Stephen Murphy. Thank you so much for once again joining us here for another episode of all the action and all the news from around Ireland here with Golf Ireland. So thank you as always for tuning in. We have plenty of action to get stuck into as always. We have a great guest. Recent North of Ireland winner James Fox joins us soon, and then we'll look ahead as well to the upcoming action over the next week. But as mentioned about the North of Ireland, we will start there, and as I said, Portmarnock golfer James Fox was crowned North of Ireland champion after a countback in fading light at Royal Portrush. In very, very tough conditions, gusting winds up to 50 kilometres an hour, causing the final round tee times to be delayed. The championship committee exhausted all alternatives to find a winner through a sudden death playoff between Robert Moran and James Fox, but as both were tied after 72 holes. However, both players were briefed before the playoff that a card countback would be utilised if light expired, and with the players tied after 3 holes, the 41-year-old was declared the winner. It was all action on the last day. Colin Campbell had a 3-shot lead early in round 4, but that dwindled and Fox joined him at the top of the leaderboard momentarily on 1 over par. And while others came and went, it was left for Fox to hold on to the lead deep into the back 9. Up ahead, Robert Moran was another who'd battled hard against the elements, and he ended up having a 30-foot putt for birdie that would have sealed the win, but unfortunately missed that and went to a playoff after James Fox bogeyed 18. After 3 playoff holes and with the light dwindling, James Fox was crowned champion, ending his 12-year wait for a win and his first ever championship success, which is absolutely incredible. Obviously a great performance as well from Robert Moran and a couple of the players with the conditions as bad as they were. Incredible stuff. But we'll talk with James in a bit more detail as well coming up about how he feels after his momentous win. We also had plenty of inter-teams action. We had AIG Women's Junior Cup, the Men's Jimmy Bruin, the Women's Intermediate Cup, Women's Minor Cup and Men's Fred Perry, all taking place at Westport Golf Club. We'll start with Tubber Curry, who claimed their first AIG Men's Jimmy Bruin Shield All-Ireland title after a strong performance against Gowran Park. The pairing of Paul O'Reilly and Alan Bowens put the first point on the board for the Connacht team with a 6-4 win. Keith Feely and Damien Keenan made a great up and down on the 16th hole to win their match 4-2 and give the team its second point. On different parts of the course, the pairings of Dylan Craig and Brendan McDonough and Ronan Forkin and Pat Kilcoyne both secured wins in their match to give Tubber Curry 4 wins and successfully claim the green pennant. So brilliantly well done there to Tubber Curry. In the AIG Women's Junior Cup, Castle are your All-Ireland winners after some great matches against the 2016 champions Castle Troy. Katie Dunn put the first point on the board for the Castle team with a 5-3 victory. She was quickly followed in by her teammate Ellen Smith, who secured her point on the 16th hole with a 3-2 win. And then Dunn's twin sister Zoe held a 7-footer on the 16th hole to clinch the winning point and give Castle the title. Brilliantly well done there to Castle. In the AIG Women's Minor Cup, RD had a great win after some tight matches against Lee Valley. Lee Valley was up in 4 matches through 9 holes, but the RD team fought hard to get their hands on the trophy. Emma O'Halloran clinched Lee Valley's first point of the day with a 2-1 win. Annette Dernan won her match 3-2 to give RT their first point of the day, and she was quickly followed by her teammate Margaret Malone, who won her match on the 18th. Chris Hayes secured a vital point for Lee Valley with a win on the 18th to make it 2-all. It all came down to the final match, which saw Angela Hand claw her match back from being 4 down to win on the 19th hole and give RD victory. Talk about tension and drama. Huge congrats to RD and commiserations. That is tough for Lee Valley, but a great performance nonetheless. So well done to all involved there. Gowran Park made history for their club as they claimed their second All-Ireland title in 2 weeks. The Kilkenny club won their first AIG Women's Intermediate Cup title 1 week after winning the Revive Active Women's 4-ball, which is an incredible run of form there. Pretty special in this team. You had 2 sisters and a mother and daughter, and they overcame Portumna in today's final. Helen McCormick put the first point on the board with a 7-6 win. She was quickly followed by her teammate Aisling Costello, who won her match in the 13th to give them the second point. On different parts of the course, then Orla McCormick clinched a third point with a 3-2 win. In the first match, while the fifth match, Ashley Boot secured another point with a 5-4 win to secure glory for Gowran Park. So well done again there to all involved. And then finally, the AIG Fred Perry Connemara Isles are your champion. There's some names here that I'm probably going to butcher, so apologies to everyone involved. But the team of Liam O'Malada, Sean O'Coulon, they laid the platform with a 4-3 success against Pat Ryan and Raymond Kelly. Noel O'Tierney and Joseph O'Coulon followed up with a 2-1 win, and Jared O'Coulon and Vinnie Lorcaine applied the finishing touches on the final hole, and they were last year's beaten finalists, Connemara Isles, so to come back the year after and win it, very, very impressive, and congratulations to all involved there. That recaps all of that action there at Westport Golf Club. So a big chunk of news there, so well done to everyone involved. Move on now to the senior men's and women's home internationals. Ireland come up just short in the senior home internationals despite a final day victory over Wales at West Kilbride Golf Club. Wasn't enough, unfortunately, to secure the coveted overall title. Having lost to England on Tuesday before bouncing back against Scotland yesterday, the Irish team knew a win over the Welsh could give them a chance of taking home the top honours after Wales' tie with England left only a half a point separating England and Ireland going into the final day's action. Ireland come up just short in the senior home internationals despite a final day victory over Wales. Sorry, I've already said that. Ireland came flying out of the blocks in the morning foursomes as Duke's Tracy Eakin and Beaufort's Lisa Cullen put the first point on the board with a dominant 5-4 win. This was followed by Carl Borneman from Douglas and Peter Sheehan from Ballybunion taking match 3 and 2. Before Deirdre Walsh and Alison Taylor secured another point for Ireland with a one-hole victory. However, Wales fought back and took all the available points from the remaining 3 foursomes matches, putting the sides level at 3 apiece heading into the singles. The in-form Eakin again led Ireland out and showed her class once more with her second 5-4 win of the day. That's absolutely amazing golf. But unfortunately Ireland would fail to win any of the next 5 matches as Borneman and Laura Webb salvaged halves, with Wales taking the other 3 points. Thankfully for Ireland though, the finishers sent out in the second half of the singles draw delivered the points when called upon. 4 of the last 6 matches went the way of the Irish and included an impressive 5-4 win for David Mulholland, whilst Taylor notched up her second point of the day, winning 3 and 2. In the last match out, Banbridge's Jim Carville added another half point to the scoreboard to conclude the match at Ireland 9.5, Wales 8.5. And then attention then turned to whether or not the Scots could do Ireland a favour. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. England recovered from the morning's foursomes deficit to turn that match around and win out 10.5, 7.5, and in doing so claiming the overall senior home internationals crown. Ireland's disappointment then was compounded as the women were pipped by their English counterparts on match points. Both countries had a pair of wins to go with their own tied match. However, England's tally of 17 match points was one better than that of Ireland. And the men's, it was Scotland who topped the table after an unbeaten run saw them dispatch of Wales and England, but only managed a tie with Ireland, who themselves ended the tournament unfortunately in last position on a half a point. But still a huge effort there from all involved, so congratulations on that. Finally then as well, we have to talk about the Solheim Cup that was on at the weekend, and of course we had our very own Leona Maguire involved, and again another incredible performance from Leona as Europe retained the Solheim Cup with 14 points each against the United States, but they obviously had won it 2 years ago, so they get to retain the trophy. So congratulations to Europe, and congratulations to Leona, who won 3 points from her 5 outings and beating Rose Zhang 4-3 in the final day singles. Absolutely incredible performance on the Sunday, especially several birdies and an eagle in that Sunday with some great Irish support to boot. So definitely a huge day for her and for Europe as always. And yeah, I think that sums up all of the action for the past week. A bumper one there for you. But now we will throw it over to our conversation with the North of Ireland champion, James Fox. I am now delighted to be joined by the recent North of Ireland champion, James Fox. James, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Stephen. Thanks for having me on.
How's the emotions over the last few days? Are you tired? I'm sure you must be exhausted.
A little tired, still hasn't quite sunk in yet. I think I checked the website 20 times on Saturday just to make sure I actually did win and that I wasn't dreaming. I've only checked it twice today, so I guess it's slowly sinking in, yeah. But yeah, I'm a little
tomorrow,
tired. Yeah.
Tomorrow
Yeah, I
only
think
once.
I'll finally accept it tomorrow, probably.
That is brilliant. I was going to say, as I did the intro there, North of Ireland champion James Fox. How does that feel?
Oh, it's great. I mean, winning any championship special, but particularly at a venue like Royal Port Rush. I mean, it's such an iconic venue in golf, now an Open Championship venue again. So I mean, it feels great. It's been my dream for a long time to win championships. So to get the first one is great.
Does it help as well as such an iconic venue as well? Is it that extra sweet?
Yeah, I think so. I love the Dunluce links. I mean, of course, the Valley links is also a great course. But I mean, I love the Dunluce links. I probably first played it 20 years ago. And now with the recent changes, it really is now one of the best courses in the world, without a doubt. And I think it's going to be on the open road for good now, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I always ask this to recent winners. What were the expectations heading into a week? Obviously, everyone thinks that they can win, but is that just what people say, or what were the expectations for you heading into last week?
I did think I could win, absolutely. I try to sort of experience has taught me to sort of hope for the best but prepare for the worst in these sort of tournaments. You never really know how you're going to play on a given week. I certainly felt I had a good chance. I liked the course. I've played well there before. And I think the change in format probably helped me too. I prefer the 72 hole strokes. Um, you know, Not that I don't love match play, but I like the uh, the sort of marathon element of 72 hole stroke play, and certainly this recent tournament was certainly a marathon.
Yeah, let's talk about the conditions are absolutely brutal. But you said you feel at home in the wind. Is that sort of conditions that you've always enjoyed? The tougher the better.
Yeah, like growing up in Portmarnock, I mean, we're well used to the wind there, so that didn't bother me at all. I mean, but it was the rain as well, and the temperature actually is quite cold. I mean, the ball wasn't going very far, so I mean, I knew driving in there it was going to be a really really tough day, and I remember thinking to myself, you know, I can make 10 bogeys today and I'll still win, and I wasn't far off in that prediction really. It was a huge advantage to be in the lead. Oftentimes, if it's a little bit windy, it's easier to chase. But I think when the weather gets really, really bad, you're much better off being in front. So that was definitely to my advantage. Just being in the lead or near the lead would have been fine too. But it's much harder to make up ground because it was just so difficult. I don't know what the best score was in the day, but I can't imagine anyone did better than kind of 6 over for the 2 rounds.
Did that ease the pressure going into that final round, knowing that it was going to be very difficult to chase?
It did. I kind of felt to myself that if you weren't under par after 2 rounds, you probably didn't have a chance. So it sort of shortens the field. I'd say probably maybe 10 guys were under par. But then, having said that, I was playing with Colin Campbell and he started par eagle birdie. So that kind of immediately he kind of threw down a marker there. But, like experience kind of taught me that, if I just keep plugging away and stick with the process, that at the end of the day, I wouldn't be far away. And that proved to be correct.
I want to get a bit golf geeky here, but talk to me about how you adjust your game, your swing, even you're down to your ball stance when it comes to playing in the wind like that.
I think like I have a low ball flight anyway, so I don't have to make too many adjustments. I mean, the big adjustment really, clubbing is a big thing. I mean, you're sort of it's sort of like a 30 or 40 yard wind. We're playing a probably 40 yard wind really, and having the sort of faith that hitting a 7 iron from 120 is correct. That's a big part of it. Good tempo is very important in the wind. You don't want you want to keep the spin off the ball. So I mean, I worked on that before in the days leading up to the tournament, knowing that the weather was going to be pretty rough. So I hit a lot of kind of drivers where I really concentrated on keeping the spin down and keeping the flight down. And I used that shot, pretty much on every hole, all week.
And when talk to me about aiming as well with crosswinds or like that, is it actually very difficult, as you said, to aim far enough offline? Is that
yeah? I mean, the big example of that was the guys who played will understand what I mean. On Calamity on 16, like you literally could not start a far enough right. I mean, everyone in the field missed that green left. I think you just, as soon as it left the tee box, it went at right angles to the left. So that was very tough, and the wind was so strong really that if you try and hold it up too much in the breeze, I mean and you catch a gust, you'll come up 30 yards short. So I mean, I kind of, it was so windy. Really, I just sort of let the ball move on the wind, and then at least if you miss on the kind of into the wind side, your next shot shouldn't be too tough.
Do you almost enjoy the chaos among all of it? Is there something that just appeals to you, or again, are you just used to it?
I don't mind it. I mean, I would much rather play in relatively normal conditions. I like I like enough breeze where you can work the ball. I do like to see the ball fly straight, so I like it kind of enough breeze where that you can hold the ball up. I don't particularly like the conditions we played in on Friday. I don't know if anyone really like it. It was so rough. But having said that, if you have to accept uh, golf in Ireland, that is a possibility, and especially this year we've had a particularly rough uh, year in terms of weather for the tournaments. So you have to accept it. If you want to win these championships, you're probably going to have to play in bad weather some of the time, and you just have to accept that.
Yeah, or move to Portugal, I think, is another
Exactly.
option.
Yeah.
So if you want to, yeah. Talk to me about preparation for these rounds. As you said, you knew that it was going to be rough weather. Like, you can't win the tournament obviously the days beforehand, but in terms of preparation, can you lose it? And not just down to the mentality or practice, but packing the right gear, packing enough gear, keeping everything dry as possible. Talk to me about the preparation like that.
Yeah, I mean it's so important to have to pack enough clothes. I mean, I remember my brother Noel telling me going to the west of Ireland years ago, bring two sets of rain gear because if you win in the morning, you will be soaked and you need to dry off before you tee off in the afternoon, and it makes a difference. I'm quite busy outside of golf. The only golf I play is championships. Really, my practice time is fairly limited. So the time I do have leading up to a tournament, I try and make sure my short game is sharp. So I'll try and spend a few hours in the week leading up doing a lot of putting, a lot of chipping, bunker shots, that sort of thing. But this week in particular, knowing that driving is so important at Portrush, I did actually spend a bit of time trying to just get get comfortable hitting lower drivers, and I hit that shot all week.
Yeah, nice to have that reliable one when you need it
Yeah.
most. You said you were a couple of shots behind Colin Campbell early in round 4 due to his hot start, but is it easier in conditions like that to kind of just stay patient and knowing that a double or triple bogey is never far off the cards?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was one of the few rounds or few days I played in my life where I actually didn't know what score I was. I was so focused on just each shot, and because each shot presented a unique challenge, that you couldn't really go to sleep, or you would make a double bogey. So yeah, I just kept plugging away, knowing that at at the end of the 72 holes, given that I was starting the third round, one ahead, if I just kept going, stuck in my routine, I wasn't going to be far off.
I was joking with you before we started recording of how to approach the next question because I said I didn't want to be disrespectful in any way, and it comes from respect. But you're 41 years old, which of course in any walk of life is not anyway old, but in amateur golf it can feel like a young man's game at times. Considering as well your last win was 12 years ago.
Mm.
How amazing is it? And how much belief did it require for you to get the job done?
Yeah, I mean, in amateur golf, it's old. In professional golf, I'd be considered kind of at the end, like, no, in the middle of my prime years, probably. I mean, we look at kind of guys like Darren Clark and Henrik Stenson winning the Open in their early 40s. Like it's for in professional golf, it's certainly not old. But in amateur golf, it is old. Like that's a fact. And I've been old in amateur golf for 15 years now. Probably. I remember making the cut in the British Amateur. I think I was 29 and been interviewed, and so the reporter saying, what's it like to be the oldest guy in the match play? And I was like, what are you talking about? But to put it in perspective, like I played at Brandon St. John there on Friday. I think he wasn't born when I played in my first championship. So he was keen to get away because he was going to a 21st birthday party that night. So, but having said that, yes, I'm 41, but in Ireland, we've a number of really top class amateurs in around my age. I mean, Colin Campbell in particular, like he's won 4 championships. I think he's won 3 of them in his 30s. Robbie Cannon has won 3 championships. He's the same age as me. Peter O'Keefe is a year older than me. I think he's won 3 championships. So those guys were a real inspiration to me, to be honest, because seeing them do it, and now they're all better players than me, but I knew that if they could do it, then I could do it too. And even physically in that, I mean, I'm as fit as I was when I was 20, and I probably hit the ball better. So it's not it really, I look at my age as an advantage, like having the experience to know, like, I mean, I've lost championships before. In particular, I lost the East of Ireland by a shot, 12 years ago, and I had a big lead at halfway, and the fact that I went through that's probably the reason why I was able to win on Friday. Like if you look in golf or in most sports, you'll find that before you win anything, you've got to lose something. I mean, you look at, Rory McIlroy obviously lost the Masters right before he lost the US Open. Shane Larry lost the US Open right before he won the Open. Padraig, he had a great chance to win the US Open the year before he won his first Open. So the the experience that you have at my age, I think, dramatically outweighs any kind of physical sort of limitations that like you could have. So I would look at my age probably as a positive, really, rather than a negative. Having said that, very few people win championships at this age. But like I said on Friday, I do hope that this isn't the pinnacle for me. I hope it's a stepping stone to even better golf.
Yeah, I saw that quote and I wanted to bring that up as well because it was a fantastic quote, because you could be forgiven for dining out in this for a while, and it's a huge accomplishment, but you already seem to have the mindset of this is just maybe the beginning of a great run of golf for you. Is that what you want to have? Is that what you believe can happen?
Definitely, yeah. Like I felt like I'm getting better each year still. I mean, I always have a goal of being better on the 31st of December than I was on the 1st of January. Like, and I did really commit to, I had a kind of cold, objective look at my golf last winter, and I realized that my putting just wasn't good enough, and I really made an effort with the time I do have earlier in the year to really work on that. And I've put it pretty well this year. Like, I mean, I played real nice. I remember at the Island at the Irish Amateur, like I was in third place after 3 rounds, and I knew then that I was on the right track because the work I'd done on my putting was showing in my scoring. And after that week, I kind of knew, actually, if I just keep going with this, I'm not going to be far away in a tournament sometime this year.
I think as well, us normal amateurs don't really understand how tiring these competitions are for everybody, especially considering, as you said, that every shot was mental warfare at times because of the conditions. Describe that crash of energy maybe the next day or the day after, and how tough that is. Again, something that we never really consider.
Well, I kind of had an odd situation. The final of the club championship in Kilmarnock was at 10:30 in the morning after the North, so I had to very quickly get back in the saddle and get up for that. I found I didn't sleep well at all on the Friday night because I drove back home. I got home about midnight, and when you're driving in the dark with the headlights and all, you're a bit wired when you come in, and so I was quite tired the day after. But like, I think if you keep a reasonable level of fitness, you recover quite quickly from these things. I mean, it is only golf. Like, we're not playing, football matches. Or when I see what the Irish rugby team went through on Saturday, like, I don't know how they're even still standing. But yeah, like, they are tiring, but they're probably more mentally tiring, really. Concentrating for 72 holes does take a lot out of you. You do need to wind down for a couple of days afterwards. And yeah, it's probably not a bad thing that I guess I have a break until the West of Ireland, I guess, because there's not much left to play in.
How did you play in the club championship?
I managed to win, so yeah, that was good.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I was contemplating buying a lottery ticket then on Saturday evening.
I was going to say, what a couple of days! What a couple of days for you. That's absolutely brilliant, James. Look, I said that was absolutely fascinating to talk to you. I really do appreciate you taking your time out. A massive congrats again for that win. and definitely onwards and upwards for you. Absolutely no doubt about it. James, thank you so much.
Great. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks again to James Fox for joining us here. Huge congratulations to him again on his recent win. Let's look ahead to the upcoming events over the next few days. We'll start with the Junior Ryder Cup. This kicked off yesterday at Solheim Golf Club, and Ireland's Sean Keeling is involved on the European Junior Ryder Cup team, which is incredibly exciting. So you can keep an eye on social media there from Golf Ireland to keep up to date with that as well. Best of luck to him. A huge honour, and must be incredibly exciting as well, with the Ryder Cup itself starting as well this week. So on Friday the Ryder Cup kicks off. Obviously Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry involved from an Irish perspective, going up against a very talented USA team. So that will be incredibly riveting and exciting to watch as well from Solheim Golf Club. So very much looking forward to that. And then also on the 4th of October, we head to Headford Golf Club, where the All-Ireland Women's Silver and Bronze Medal Finals are taking place. So that is next week, coming up on the 4th of October. So keep an eye out for those results as well. And best luck to everybody taking part. But yeah, that wraps it up for another episode of the Golf Ireland pod. Thank you as always for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be back next weekend as always. So until then, we will see you.